2014 marked the 5th year for Evillecon, but was it a success or a failure? Let's find out. This year, Evillecon took place in the Clarion in Evansville. This was a new location for them, and over the weekend I heard a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions talk about what they thought about the move to the new hotel. Sadly, this was my first year at Evillecon, so I cannot compare to the old hotel. The best I can do is tell you that I did really like the hotel, and for the most part, everything I heard from people was positive. Other than one big thing. The rooms for things like main events, the dealer's room, and the game room were just way too small. They just could not fit anywhere close to the amount of people who wanted to visit them. On the other hand, the location for their artist alley was perfect. I heard a lot of people over the weekend saying how much they loved the artist alley. To be honest, I have never been a huge fan of an artist alley, but at this con, I spent most of my time there. It was in a very open, well-lit area, and I wish more cons would do something like this with their artist alleys. On a side note, right next to the artist alley is a really nice pool. If you're into going swimming while you're at cons, you should really check it out. Right away, I noticed that registration was a bit of a problem. Though they were working hard, had a good system, and were getting people through at a good pace, it would still get backed up to the point that at times people had to stand outside the doors. My recommendation to fix this is to just have a bigger registration area in the future, with more staff to help people get their badges and get through. Speaking of badges, these badges really sucked. I'm sorry, but that's the best way I can put it. They were just paper. No lamination, no plastic holders, just paper. It seemed like it wouldn't be that bad, but let's be honest, at a convention you're running around and doing God knows what. Those little paper badges just could not hold up. If you looked at any random person near the end of the con, you would see their badge was destroyed. This sucks, not only because they would break off and people would lose them, but also because most people collect those things, and by the end of the con, it doesn't really look like something you would want to put in your collection. As far as the different events that were going on this weekend, I had mixed feelings. To start things off, opening ceremonies wasn't too bad, which is good. I have found that most opening ceremonies at cons are almost cringeworthy. I like that they got the guests up there and over with so we could move on and go enjoy the con. I also thought the opening slideshow was a very cool and good idea that got everyone in a good mood for the con. Though personally, I would have not made it so long, but it still got the job done. I found myself really liking the LARPing they had going on. I don't know whose idea that was, but it was a good one. It was very fun and a lot of people were really getting into it. On Friday night, there was a hologram Miku concert, which I thought was a great idea. Personally, I have not seen any other cons do that before this one. On Saturday, before the rave, they had Professor Shy Guy perform a concert. Everyone got really into it and he did amazing. It was a very good call inviting somebody like him to this con. After Shy Guy was the rave, and I have to say I was skeptical. The room was small, I had never heard of the DJs, and no one was dancing at the Miku concert the night before. But when those DJs come out, people just lost it. They did amazing, and I think it was the best small convention rave I have been to. Then there's the cosplay contest. Once it actually got going, it was pretty fun. But oh my, was it disorganized. First, because the main events were so small, they couldn't fit anywhere close to how many people wanted to see the contest into the room. Then it started pretty late, but to top everything else off, after the contest was over and it was time to give the awards out, no one could find any of the contestants. It was like they just disappeared. Finally, after like 10 minutes, they started finding them and telling them they won stuff, but I just don't understand how you lose all the contestants from the competition. If someone could shed more light on that, I would really appreciate it. Along with the main events, the dealer's room was so small. Don't get me wrong, they had good stuff to buy in there, but for example, on Saturday, there was a line backed up just to walk into the dealer's room because they just could not fit everyone in there. Another room that was too small was the game room. I normally spend a lot of time at game rooms at cons, but this game room was not very well done. and it just couldn't hold very many systems to begin with because it was such a small room. In my opinion, it needs work in future years. Another thing we noticed was that nobody was checking people's badges. For most all of the con, I didn't see anyone checking anyone's badges before they went into panels or the dealer's room. This is aggravating simply because people spent good money to get in, and it felt like we could have just walked in and not paid a dime, and they would have never known the difference. On top of any bad things I may have said, I must say I just loved the atmosphere of this convention, as well as the layout of everything. Everything was just very chill and relaxed. People were just having a good time, and you could feel that in the air. I did a lot of interviews while I was at the con, and they almost all said the same thing I'm saying now, that the atmosphere just felt great. It felt great just being at this con and being with this group of people. Not to mention, they had a great lineup of voice actors here. For a small con, it was pretty impressive. Location gets an 8 out of 10. I know I complained a lot about small rooms, and it was a problem, but I just really loved everything else about the location and how everything was set up. Dealer's room gets a 6.5 out of 10. It wasn't too bad. They had some good stuff to buy in there, but at the end of the day, they didn't have very many vendors, and the room was just really tiny. Organization gets a 7 out of 10. For the most part, things were pretty well organized, but like I said, I felt that registration could have been done a little bit better, and there were just way too many problems with things like the cosplay contest. Panels get a 7.5 out of 10. They had some cool panels like the Miku thing and Evillecon's Got Talent, but there were also problems with them, like the cosplay contest. Also, I found it weird that originally they had Vic not in the main events but in smaller panel rooms. They did eventually change this and move him to the main events for his last 2 Q&As, but they should have known that those rooms were going to be way too small for someone like Vic Mignogna. Rave gets a 9 out of 10. The Rave was amazing for a small con. I honestly loved it. Not the best con rave I've ever been to, but it was still pretty freaking good. I give the staff a 10 out of 10. I had no problems with the staff. They all seemed to be very nice and were all working hard to make sure that we had the best weekend possible. At the end of the day, I thought Evillecon 2014 was a really good con. It was small, but it was a lot of fun. There were a few problems here and there that should be addressed before next year, but overall everything was pretty good. They had good guests, an amazing artist alley, and the atmosphere as a whole just made being at the con a wonderful experience. I truly feel that if the few problems that the con had this year are fixed for Evillecon 2015, it may be the best anime convention that Indiana has to offer. I give Evillecon 2014 a 7.5 out of 10. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing, please hit the subscribe button to see new videos having to do with gaming, anime, cosplay, and anime conventions every Sunday.